We're back. No time has passed. Welcome to the next video.
A couple seconds.
So this is gonna be the big video about the stuff that goes on in my head. You.
We are different.
You
have been procrastinating on this for a bit.
I have. I've been really
I've been telling you, man.
I've been waiting for the right time.
I've been like, hey man, you make that video, and you're like, oh well. And then you still.
Well, the time's right. Because we just did the Q&A thing.
Yes.
Seems right. Feels like it's a hot subject. People want to know.
I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm gonna remind you. When we were talking about making an album, I said, do you want to make it a concept album? Because I think that'd be cool. And you said no. You said you didn't want to do it. And I was like, okay. And then one day on the way to Guitar Center, you said, I think we should make it a concept album. I was like,
Original idea,
yeah.
I didn't want to do a concept album because I didn't want to look like a pretentious douchebag.
So you're calling me a pretentious.
I'm calling us pretentious douchebags. I can't even say douchebag. That's how pretentious I am.
I'm not pretentious.
You don't think you're pretentious, but that's what a pretentious person would. But I did write a concept record. At the end of the day, I felt like it mattered more. That the album was what I wanted it to be.
Oh, that's what you wanted.
That was what I wanted. But I decided that I cared more about the record than I cared about me not being concept album guy.
I think a lot of people don't know it's a concept album.
I want to go ahead and say, just as a beginning thing, I really, really did not want this record to be an album that's like so much of a concept record that it's like shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
That was the big struggle. I wanted it to be a concept record, but more so for my sake. I wanted to get my story out there and get a story out there. And it's there if people want it, which is why I'm making this video. But I don't want people to feel like if they're listening to the record that they have to think about it in terms of this story and that this is how it is.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they make a concept record, the story comes first and the music comes second, and that's never how it is for us too. The music always comes first. The music always wins.
Really, the story is just there to give me something to write about, to be honest with you. It helped me because the thing about this story is it's very much like my story and my thoughts and everything if they were like blown way out of proportion and made into somewhat dark.
So you're crazy.
Fiction. Kinda.
That was a gutsy thing to say.
Well, I mean, I think everyone has like weird, dark thoughts and crazy things in their mind that they don't let out. And I decided I would let it out via our album.
I would be curious before you start how many people knew this was a concept album and figured it out. I know one person did. Shout out to Pam.
Pam Buck. Yeah, we have a fan whose name is Pam Buck. She goes by the Twitter handle Cool Mom. She is a very cool mom.
She's a very cool mom.
She is our second mother collectively.
Yes.
She is the Radnor mom. The album was out and like 2 days after she sends me this long message. And she had like figured the whole thing out. And I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
Well, there was that girl at the comments saying that everything seems to be linked, so she knew too.
A lot of people picked up that it was a concept album, but Cool Mom.
How could you not? It says Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3.
Yeah.
So immediately you're like, okay, there has to be something to this.
Cool Mom figured out the whole thing. So shout out to her.
Which is amazing.
Well, for the most part, she figured it out.
And her daughter.
Shout out to Cool Mom and her daughter Katie, because they're both awesome.
Yes.
Side note, Connor doesn't know any of the lyrics to any of the songs.
Yes, I do.
So this is all going to be news to him.
Yes, I do. I know the lyrics.
I've never heard you sing more than like 10 of them in a row correctly.
Okay, I'll do all of Serenity right now. Okay, you ready?
I don't want to have to
No, here we go.
I don't want to have to deal with that.
I've never known a feeling quite like this. Okay.
Damn it! You realize you don't know it.
No, wait, stop. Unrelenting.
You missed a word. You missed a couple words.
I've never known a feeling quite like this. Unrelenting.
No.
I know the lyrics. I just can't remember them right now.
So, the album is, at its core, a love story. It's really just about two main characters. The main protagonist, which I guess I play in the story, goes nameless. That was an intentional decision too, because again, I feel like by naming him, then it becomes his story, and I don't want that. I want people to be able to hear the songs, hear the album, and connect it with their own lives somehow. However, the female character does have a name, and her name is Serenity Astray, which is where the album name comes from. The reason I named her Serenity Astray is because during the writing process of the songs, I had written several of the songs before coming up with that name, and then in turn the name of the album. And the words Serenity and Astray both kind of kept popping up in the lyrics. I realized I kept like reusing those words, and instead of fighting that and being like, oh, well, I need to stop using those words because I'm overusing them, I just decided to make that her name and embrace that that was just going to be a theme in the album.
Also, it's like her name, like Serenity Astray, like Serenity Astray.
Makes sense.
It's kind of cool.
Serenity. The album is about lost love, I guess, in a sense. So her name says a lot about the story of the album, because in the main character's mind, if he's with her, everything's okay, and if she's gone, he's an insane, crazy psychopath killer person.
And this is you, right?
Yes, I'm the insane, crazy psychopathic killer person. So that explains that. As I explained in the last video, the 9 o'clock thing, there's no reason that it's 9 o'clock specifically. The 9 o'clock just means... The 9 o'clock is just something I use to signify the cyclical? I know that's a word, I have no idea how to say it. The album's a cycle.
Well, don't ask me.
Yeah, so in Act 1, I start out by saying the time reads 9 o'clock as the story unfolds. Oh, you know some words. You know the words I just said.
As the story unfolds.
I'm so proud of you. No, the first word after that was wrong.
I don't know that. I don't know why I can't remember lyrics. I don't. It just doesn't stick with me for some reason.
And then the last lyrics in Astray are the time reads 9 o'clock as a, you know.
Time reads 9 o'clock.
Different song.
As I know.
So it starts off at 9 o'clock, ends at 9 o'clock, and that's kind of my trying to be clever way of starting and ending at the same time.
Cyclical.
Yeah, the cyclical cycle. It's a circle. I didn't cycle. Yeah.
Stop.
I'll go through each song and kind of explain, and then we'll.
You know what? How about you go through each song and then explain?
Good idea. That's a really good idea.
Thank you.
You came up with that. As we go through each song, I'm going to be using these little pieces, and then we'll have the whole puzzle done by the end, hopefully. And then I guess.
Yo, you're gonna do a thing on the screen?
No.
Okay.
I'm not that creative. So, Act 1, there's really not much to Act 1. It's just kind of the here we go song. This is the story. This is what's happening. It does say very early on that you get a sense that something's wrong and that the main character is sad about something. And you also get a sense that he feels like he's trapped in a cycle, because it pretty much says that. A funny thing about Act 1, which we'll get to in the last song, is the lyrics are almost identical to the end of Astray. That was another way of me kind of tying everything back around. Serenity is a little bit of a contrast, because it's instrumentally probably the happiest song of any of them, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah,
very upbeat. Like there's a
upbeat.
key change at the end, which is lame, but I liked it. Yeah, I guess it does do that, Connor. Serenity is your kind of introduction to the whole thing. You're introduced to the fact that something is wrong with this character. He is upset, something has happened. He has lost this female character, Serenity, and it's a very depressing song lyrically. It's starting you off with seeing him at his most depressed, his lowest point, and he's kind of making the decision in this first song of whether or not he's gonna try again and try to rekindle this love affair that he apparently used to have, or if he is going to just give up. Because in the first couple choruses, the lyrics are different than the very last chorus. In the first choruses, the lyrics are to live alone is to live a life where honestly it doesn't even matter I'm alive, which is very depressing. people would say. But by the end of the song, you realize that he is making his last effort. He's gonna go try to rekindle what he had with Serenity.
I swear to God, I'll never say goodbye. That's it.
Connor got lyrics right. We got On Camera. Forever Will and Do is, I guess, the song where he's making his appeal to Serenity. Kind of his way of saying to her, every time I think about it, it's different how these interactions are taking place. It's one of those things I kind of leave open-ended because I want you to make up your mind about it. Maybe he's sending letters to her. Maybe he's actually confronting her and saying these things to her.
So artistic.
This is what I tried to avoid.
I want you to interpret what it is.
So yeah, maybe I should be doing this video by myself. You know, what do you think of this new camera angle, Connor? Do you like it? I think it looks a lot better. No. Okay, so however this interaction is taking place, this is more his way of appealing to her, being like, I know how things were, I know things were shitty, but we should try again because we had something great. It's clear by the start of the next song that this doesn't exactly work, which is leading us into Perceptions, which is the angry metal, we're metalcore kids for a day song. This song is kind of just pure anger lyrically. So in a literal interpretation of the album,
he's mad. He's angry.
He is mad. Ugh. The thing to keep in mind with this album is, this is something I should have mentioned earlier, but I'm going to go over it now. One of the founding ideas in this story was I wanted to write a story about a character who had absolutely no sense or regard or just concept of morality in general. That part of you, that reactive part of your mind, it's like, so you're jealous because you see a girl you like with a guy or
happens all
whatever.
The time, man. Happens
So
all
you
the time.
can relate with. You're relating with me already.
I relate, yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. But I feel like a lot of people's initial reaction is to just be so mad at this person and just feel like I can kill him. Oh, I can kill him. Right. Thank you for the demonstration. But I wanted to write from the perspective of someone who doesn't have that part of themselves that it is then like, what are you, crazy? That's stupid. No, you have morals. So the thing to keep in mind with this character is he has no moral compass whatsoever. He's just the impulsive part of the human mind let loose. And that is why the transition between Forever Will and Do and Perceptions is so abrupt. It feels right, because it gives you an idea early on of how just all over the place this guy is. So Perceptions ends with him being angry. I would say at this point in my mind, he's begun like the seeking her out process. Like he's trying to reach her, she's not responding.
I also can relate with that.
What we're gonna find is that this record is about your luck with one.
None at all. For the most part, I've been very sad and very lonely. Basically my entire life. I mean, my dog died.
So at the end of Perceptions, we get to Act 2. I feel like maybe Act 2 comes a little late, because I think the original idea behind Act 2 was that it was going to signify the album is taking a darker turn. And in a way it does, because before, Perceptions is angry, but it's not necessarily dark. You don't get a sense that this guy is like, just fucked up yet. But Chemicals is your... I can curse. Chemicals is your introduction to the fact that this guy is actually a psychopath. He's dangerous. And I think Act 2 kind of bridges that gap. Obviously there's nothing to talk about lyrically, because it's just instrumental. But that's more what Act 2 is meant to signify. It's your transition between this has gone from a story about a guy who's just upset about a girl to this guy is actually crazy. Okay, so
I think you're on Chemicals now.
Chemicals, this is probably, I guess because it's more the lead song of the album, this is what most people ask about what it means. If you watch the video is kind of loosely based on the story, but it's more like, the video is more like what the idea of the song would be if the song was its own thing by itself. In terms of what it means in the album, it does have, like every other song, its place in the larger story. The idea behind Chemicals is, it's really a song about jealousy. It's a part of that, and it's a song about what I was talking about earlier, that instinctive part of you that if you see someone you like with someone else, your first instinct's gonna be to kill them. Or like, I get just, so.
My first instinct is
Good for them.
Good for them.
They did it.
They did it.
But yeah, the thing you would gather, I guess, from this song is that the protagonist or antagonist, the main character of the story, has found out that Serenity has another lover. And so he does what any reasonable person would do, and he kills the person. Isn't that exciting?
That is exciting.
So, Radnor is a really good role model for young kids, because in this song we're teaching you to kill people if you're jealous of them. Right?
I mean, that's right.
So yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say about Chemical. See, but the twist to it is he's not really doing it out of anger at this person. I mean, he kind of is, but it's more like he's almost fooled himself into thinking that by doing this, he's doing a good thing. He's saving her. He thinks there's no way that her being with any other guy is going to be what she needs. I'm what she needs. I'm right for her. So obviously this guy needs to be out of the picture because that's just in her best interest. Oh, that says lyrically. So that's more what Chemicals is. So next up is Standby. This song is the most detached from the album for me, just because it's one of the few that came before the rest of the album. This is one of the songs that kind of... I don't even remember really where it came from lyrically. It was just one of those songs that kind of wrote itself. In the way it's tied into the story is it's more like a break after Chemicals, where he's depressed about the separation between him and Serenity. Kind of like Forever Will Undo, in the sense that he's making another appeal to her.
Yeah.
But this one's more from a place of desperation. He just feels like there's no reason for him to be alive if he doesn't have her. And it's just, the distance is driving him crazy, and the last chorus, I changed the lyrics a bit. And so the first choruses are, I would wait for you indefinitely. He starts out patient, but by the end of it, he's like, I cannot wait indefinitely. And to me, that means he's going out and he's actually going to try to do something about this. Not that he didn't by killing the guy, but he's gonna go confront her. He's gonna see her. And I would think by this point she is in hiding. But again, this is all just a bunch of stuff that.
It's art, dude.
10 Exclusion is another song that was written forever ago. But it was the lyrics have been changed since then. But 10 Exclusion was one of the other songs that was on that first EP. And it sucked back then. So I'm glad we made it good.
Remember that time that girl tweeted the lyrics to 10 Exclusion, and that was the lyrics that we changed?
Yes.
It was like, this is my favorite part of it, and then we changed it.
10 Exclusion is... It says in the first line, I'll try one last time to grab your attention.
That is the first line.
So that's really what it is. It's his last attempt where he's going to be playing nice.
I'll try one last
Because he's getting mad.
Grab your attention before I escape.
Oh no. You're so close.
Desperation.
Did you realize before this how little you knew of the lyrics?
No, I did not. When you were saying I don't know the lyrics, and I was like, I know the lyrics, and I don't know the lyrics.
I can see the disappointment on your face.
I tried.
You just look disappointed in yourself. Instrumentally, beyond the second chorus, it gets very dark and kind of does the thing that Act 2 did earlier on in the album, but it does it again, and I think it gets even darker than Act 2 did. And it transitions us well into Act 3, which even furthers that. So we're building up a lot of suspense after this song. And eventually, after Act 3, we get to SATIS House, which is the really, really angry and twisted song on the album.
Love, I'm afraid.
You got 3 words, right?
See, I always think it sounds like on the album. I think I told you this before.
Yeah.
Love, I'm afraid. A gimp has gone astray. and I can't recall if I ever knew his name. And I always laugh because it sounds so much like that.
Those are not the words.
Those
I
are not the words.
Swear. So, Satis House, in a literal interpretation, is the song where he gets really angry, and Serenity follows the same fate as her supposed other lover did in Chemicals. So we've had 10 tracks in. We're averaging 1 death per 5 songs.
Not bad. You know, it could be worse.
Requiem is a very, very depressing song. I wrote it to be. I wanted to write the most depressing thing that I could possibly write because I felt like that's where this person would be mentally at this point.
Now talk about lyrics I don't know. I don't think I can even start Requiem.
Some time ago, I truly believed in all my heart that I belonged, but I was wrong.
Okay, I can't get past that without your help.
So yeah, there's really not much more to say about Requiem other than that it's just really, really depressing. And I mean, obviously he's realized when he's done. He started the album with his intent of getting Serenity back. And it's not exactly what happened. And so in Requiem he was very depressed about this and feels like he has no reason to live. And then you can imagine where things would follow from there. I mean, he's got a little bit of a serial killer type thing.
I mean,
he's killed so far 2 of the 3 people in the entire story.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna stop there. And that is what Astray is. Astray is the song where he kills himself. To put it bluntly. Astray is the, well, I've ruined everything in the world. Why am I here anymore?
We forgot something. Are you done with explaining Astray?
Yeah, I would say so.
My favorite part about this album is something that I don't think a lot of people picked up on, and that was the heartbeat that begins the album and then the heartbeat that ends the album. And that's the very first thing you hear is the dun 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 dun, and that symbolizes his heart beating, like he's alive. And then at the end, at the very last thing you hear is dun 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 dun, like he died. And I thought that was so clever. Also, another part I really like about this album is there are 12 songs and there's 12 on a clock, and I thought that was so cool.
It is cool. We didn't even really plan that.
No, I remember being like, oh, I want it to be 12 because it'll look cool. And you're like, oh, if it works out that way, it works out that way. And it worked out that way. It worked out that way.
Which is pretty sweet. I wish there was something more significant about the 9th song in the album, but it's just Act 3.
Oh, yeah.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah. We thought about everything else, so.
So, what we just went over was a literal interpretation of the album. Like, if you take it at face value, that's what each song is, and that's what I get from it from a perspective of someone who isn't really looking for any sort of deeper meaning. Really, anything deeper than that, I feel like should be up to people, but I'm gonna give you guys what it means to me, in a sense, what I think when I listen to this album, which is that, in my mind, none of this actually happened. There really isn't a literal interpretation of the album. The way it was intended, in my mind, the way I wrote it, is all of this is something that happens in his head. If you think about it from the perspective that I am the voice of this character, and this is his story, I feel like this character also plays the writer of this album. And this is him getting his thoughts out and him letting his thoughts and emotions run wild. I see all of this as a metaphor for him being... I mean, a lot of people who have ever lost someone that they loved in their life, which it's happened to me a couple times, it happens to everyone, you're stuck on it for a long time. No matter what you do, you're just stuck on them, and it's really hard to get over, and it feels like this cycle. And it's like every day you'll wake up and you'll know that you need...
the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah, it's the first thing you think about, and it's like, you can't help but think about it every day. If you've recently lost someone and you know that it's better that you move on, but it's like by the end of the day you're just so tired and you just want it to work out. And that's kind of where I was during a lot of the writing process for this album. And that's what really all of this is a metaphor for to me. I think it's like that's why it cycles. That's why at the end it's like kind of open-ended, like did he kill himself? Did any of this ever actually happen? Because the album cycles back around, and it's like how could it cycle back around if he killed himself? So for me, it's all a metaphor. I think this character is just a very troubled person. He's a very hurt person, and this is all just a mental cycle that happens for him every day. And it's, for me, each of the deaths in the album kind of signifies a part of himself that he's trying to get over.
It's very deep. All of a sudden, it's got very deep.
I thought about it a lot. I had like 3 years to work on this, so I think one thing a lot of people worry about when they're trying to move on from someone. And by the way, not that this really matters. This isn't really about one person in my life. It's just
it's about me.
It's not even really about necessarily romantic relationships. It's just people come and go in your life all the time, and it's not hard. It's not an easy thing to deal with.
It's not an easy thing to deal with, but that's
life. And that's something that I felt like I should get out, because this album was my way of coping with it. I feel like whenever you lose someone in your life that you're very close to, or you move on, especially in this case, it would be more specifically towards romantic relationships. You worry about it. You worry that, especially if it's someone that you had kind of like a protective feeling for. You worry that they're gonna move on and they're gonna become a different person. And it may be for better or worse, but you worry that they're gonna change and they're not gonna be the type person that they were when you knew them. And Chemicals is kind of about that. Wanting to... I feel like the death of whoever the other guy in the story is kind of signifies this main character trying to kill off that part of him that's worried about Serenity. SATIS House, I feel like, is him trying to move on from her just as a person. Again, he's killing her in a literal interpretation, but in my mind, in his mind, it's weird. He's killing off his attachment to her and his dependence on her and his needing of her in his life. And then Astray. I think when you get to Requiem, really what that means for me is he's starting to realize that this isn't really about Serenity. He's not upset about her. She's the easiest target. He's just not happy with his life in general. He wants to move on. He wants to change everything. And Astray is him, again, in the literal interpretation, it's him killing himself in the album, but it's more or less him killing off the person that he was and wanting to move on to a new life and do new things and become a different person, which is something I can relate to a lot, especially around the time I went to college. Everything in my life changed at one time, and that's where a lot of the inspiration for this album comes. It's about loss and about moving on. But it's a very hard thing, it's a hard thing to go through with, and that is why it repeats. That's the reason for the repeating. It's an album where you can make up your own mind of whether or not he went through with it and he has moved on and he has become this new person, or maybe this time he didn't go through with it. He started the next day in the same place, wanting to move on, but at the same time being held back by these attachments. And I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I want him to move on. I want him to let go of things that he no longer needs in his life and to become a new person. But it's not something you can really do the second you think about it. It takes a lot of thought, and it takes a lot of encouraging yourself to take that leap and change.
It takes a long time to move on from someone, especially someone that was a big part of your life.
Mm-hmm. Or not even necessarily someone, just something.
Or something, yeah.
Connor and I just quit school because we wanted to do the band.
Wow, way to put it out there, man.
Well, it's the case. This album can connect to that. We quit school. That's a crazy thing. We've been to school our entire lives.
Well, and it college.
It took a lot of thought, but it's something we wanted to do because we wanted to disband. Yeah. So that in a nutshell, I went over the literal interpretation, but to me, there's a bigger meaning to this album, which is it's an album about change and moving on.
I would like to know what everyone else interprets it as. I would like to know. Yeah, basically that.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to draw their own connection to certain songs, which is what I want.
Yeah,
I think that's
what you should want. People should.
Again, I said this in the beginning, but I want you guys to understand that this is how I see the record, where it came from in my mind, how it helps me. But you don't necessarily have to have the same story or feel the same way to feel a connection to it. I don't want that to be the case. I want you to be able to hear the lyrics or hear the music, and I want you to be able to, maybe you apply the story to your own life and it's different than how I see it, or maybe it's a certain song that has a certain line in it that makes you feel a certain way. That's where I get the enjoyment of releasing the music.
That's what music's all about. It's about connecting with people.
It is.
And it's about music that you can relate to. I think this album is really interesting because it can have a very literal interpretation where it's like it's about this guy and he kills a guy and he kills the girl and he kills himself. Or it can be wide open and it can be about your life and about trying to move on from things like the character. I think that's cool. I don't think there are a lot of albums that do that.
So yeah, I guess that kind of wraps it up. Just to summarize, this album is a piece of fiction built on a bunch of different ideas. And the fiction is there to unify it all and to be able to package it into one thing.
One thing I want to say before we end. Is that you know there are going to be people that are watching this that maybe have only heard Chemicals. Maybe only heard Stand By. Or Serenity. Or maybe nothing. Maybe they've only seen our covers or heard our covers. And I would like you guys to go and listen to this. Because I'm proud of it. I think it's a good album.
I'm also proud of it.
And you know what it's about now, so go listen to it.
Yeah.
And the people that have already listened to it, maybe you didn't know it was about that. Maybe you had no idea it was a concept record, which is fine. So go listen to it.
I know a lot of you guys don't have money. We don't really either.
We're poor.
The record is on our store. You can buy physical copies. You can buy it on iTunes. But it's also on Spotify, which I know a lot of you guys have.
A free account.
You can get a free account on Spotify.
Also, it's on SoundCloud.
It's on SoundCloud.
And that's completely free.
Bandcamp, you can listen to it.
Bandcamp, it's completely free.
If you go to our website, radnormusic.com, and click on the music thing, there's a Spotify player right there. And I don't even think you have to, I may be wrong, I don't think you have to have an account to use that. I think you can just stream the whole album there.
Yeah.
Because I did like the incognito window thing and it worked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So listen to it there. There are places to listen to it for free. Obviously, if you want to help support us, I mean, we're independent right now, so we collect all of the money from record sales. So it does help us.
It does. Yeah.
It's not like we get like a penny for every $20 a record label somewhere makes.
And so, thank you to everyone that has bought it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. It's strange. It's strange to think that songs that we wrote in our bedroom are being heard by people across the world.
Yeah, that is weird.
I mean, we don't have like the hugest fan base in the whole world, but I feel like there are a lot of fans that we do have that really do care. Mm-hmm. And that's more people than I ever thought would care about me. I
appreciate it so much. Seriously, no one ever cared about Connor Hoffman making music. Ever in my life. No one ever cared about anything that I was doing. So, it means a lot that 5 people might send me a message saying that they really enjoyed the album and that they like our band. So thanks to everybody. And thanks for all the people that just listen to it on Spotify for free. Or listen to it on SoundCloud. I don't care how you listen to it.
The fact that it's being heard is the important part.
Yeah. And there are 13, at this time, there are 13,000 views on Chemicals, our original music video.
It's crazy.
Which is pretty exciting. And it grows every day.
It does. And that's thanks to you guys. Because you guys are helping us get it out there. You guys are sharing it around and helping us kickstart this thing that we hope will turn into something way bigger than it is now. But even if it doesn't, we really sincerely appreciate all of your attention and all of your caring about us.
I really enjoy making music that people like. And I enjoy making music just because I have the need to create. I think you're the same way. just constantly have like this craving to create something. So the fact that I get to create something with my best friend and people actually listen to it, and, you know, it's not like this huge fan base, but there are people that actually listen to it, enjoy it. It means a lot.
It gives both of us meaning in life.
Yeah. Because without this, I'm not really sure what meaning I would have.
Without the band, there's just nothing else I care about. I care about the music, and I care about the people watching this video.
Even if it's only like 400 or 500.
Right now. Anyway, I know this is going to be a super long video.
Anyway.
I'm going to try to cut it down.
Anyway, I know this is going to be a super long video, but I'm going to cut it down.
You're just making it longer.
If you could go either buy this or stream it or steal it, I don't care. Just listen to it because it's something that Warner and I and everyone who had a part. There are guys that aren't in the band anymore that had a part in making this. And we poured ourselves into this.
Yes.
One thing I really like about making music, before we stop this, is that this is going to live on forever. Like, one day I'm going to be dead and gone. But this is like, a little bit of me is in each copy of this. Which is cool, because then I can live on forever. Like this video. 20-year-old Connor is forever going to be in this video.
It's I like the idea that I'll still be helping people and making people's lives better after I'm gone.
After I'm dead, yeah.
I feel like I want to do the most I can to give back to people and to help people while I'm alive. But if I can also, in the process, set myself up to be someone who's influential for a long time, that's infinitely better.
It's really what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you've listened to us ramble for long enough now. Thanks to you guys who have stuck around. If you guys just skipped to the end to see if we were still rambling, we are still rambling.
Okay. I guess it's over now.
I guess this is goodbye for now.
It's 5:30.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. Okay.
I'm so glad this is done and we made this video.
Me too. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
We're gonna go to sleep. We'll see you guys later. Bye.